that helps us speak more clearly, and then we practice until it feels natural. And today, I want to talk about something very useful, and that is extremes in life. Well, last week, we worked on adjectives and adverbs. If you were here, you remember. And these adjectives and adverbs help us describe the world around us and how we feel about them. So we used phrases like, it was an amazing, great adventure, or it was a terrible experience. But if you think about it, most of the time, life is somewhere in the middle. What I mean is, what happens when it wasn't great or when it wasn't as terrible? Well, there gotta be some words in the middle, right? So, a conversation can be quite interesting, but not unforgettable. A day can be pretty good, even if nothing special happens. A situation can be rather uncomfortable, but not a complete disaster, right? So this is where English is important, because you can use the English language not only to express extreme opinions, you can also use it to show you have precise and balanced opinions. Sometimes we don't want to sound too strong. We don't want to say, I loved it, because maybe we only liked it a little bit. Or we don't want to say it was awful, because maybe it wasn't that bad. So we need words that help us be more precise. And that's where today's words come in, today's grammar. And these words are going to be quite, pretty, rather, and fairly. Why? Because they help us describe exactly the space between a little and very. And they help us sound more natural maybe, and also maybe a bit formal when we want to. But the most important thing, they help us say what we really mean. Because we don't always need extreme words for normal experiences. Sometimes just being honest, it means being balanced. All right, so that's what we're going to work on today. We're going to be precise on how to express opinions that are softer, clearer, and closer to real life. Not everything is perfect. Not everything is terrible. Some things are quite nice. Some things are pretty good. And some things are fairly okay. And that's the kind of English that we're going to be working on today. So let's get ready and begin today's lesson. So in that sense, before we go into the grammar, we need some words to talk about opinions in a more thoughtful way. Because as I said before, today is not just about saying good or bad. It's about noticing your real reaction. It's about saying, what did I expect? How did I feel? Or what impression did it leave? Was my opinion strong, soft, or somewhere in the middle? So let's look at today's useful words. Our first word today is balanced. Balanced. And this is an adjective. And to be balanced means to be fair and not too extreme, right? To be fair and not too extreme. This in Spanish, equilibrado o equilibrada. For example, a balanced opinion includes both good and bad points. and I think this is true, and I'll say that again, a balanced opinion includes both good and bad points. Very good. Our next word is a word that you are already familiar with. We've seen it before. Listen to it. Expectation. Expectation. And this is a noun this time. What is an expectation? Is what you think will happen before something happens, right? Is what you think will happen before something happens. In Spanish, this is expectativa. For example, my expectation was a lively evening, but the place was calm. My expectation was a lively evening, but the place was calm. Very good. Next word is mood. Mood. M-O-O-D. And this is a noun. And mood is the way you feel at a particular moment. The way you feel at a particular moment. So this in Spanish is estado de ánimo. Estado de ánimo. How can we use it? Music can change my mood in just a few minutes. Music can change my mood in just a few minutes. All right, very good. Next word, listen to this. Mild. Mild. And the spelling of this word is M-I-L-D. Mild. And this is an adjective. And when something is mild, it means that it's not strong, not intense, or extreme. It's not extreme. So then in Spanish, this is moderado or moderada, suave, moderado, better, mild. How can we use it? The sauce had a mild flavor, so everyone enjoyed it. The sauce had a mild flavor, so everyone enjoyed it. All right. Next word is overrated. Overrated. And this is an adjective. And when something is overrated, it means that it's not as good as people say. It's not as good as people say. And this in Spanish is sobrevalorado or sobrevalorada. Overrated. Everyone talks about that series, but I think it's overrated. Everyone talks about that series or that movie, but I think it's overrated. Sobrevalorado. Next one is a verb, and this is expect. And to expect is to think something will happen or something will come to be in a certain way. Okay, this is to expect. We first said expectation in that is a noun, right? This is the idea, what you think will happen before it happens. And to expect is the action of that exactly. To think something will happen. Okay? And this in Spanish is esperar o creer que algo pasará. To expect. Esperar. So how do we use it? I expected a serious film, but it was full of funny moments. I expected a serious film, but it was full of funny moments. All right, very good. So see, expected is used in the past in this sentence. I expected. All right, next word is notice. Notice. Also a word you're familiar with. This is a verb as well. And to notice is to hear or to see or become aware of something. To notice, to become aware of something. So in Spanish, darse cuenta o notar. I noticed a small change in her voice. I noticed a small change in her voice. And our last word today is seem. Also a verb. Seem. S-E-E-M. And to seem is to give the impression of being something. Seem, parecer, to give the impression of being something. So, for example, the plan seemed simple at first, but it needed more time. The plan seemed simple at first, but it needed more time. All right. Let me say those words one more time, and then you can translate them for me. So the first word was balanced as an adjective. Balanced. Expectation. Noun. Mood. Noun. Mild. Adjective. Overrated. Adjective. Expect. Verb. Notice. Verb, and seem, verb. So then if I say to you, if I ask you, ¿qué quiere decir, o cómo diríamos en inglés, darse cuenta de? You would say, notice. Very good. Sobrevalorado. Overrated. Esperar, creer que algo pasará. To expect. Parecer. Seem, to seem. Moderado. Mild. Estado de ánimo. Mood. Equilibrado. Balanced. Expectativa. Expectation. Very good. Excellent. That was good. Now, what we're going to do now is practice with these words. Excuse me. So, first activity of the day is, as usual, definition check. So what do you have to do? You have to guess the word that I'm describing. So listen to this. This word describes an opinion that does not go too far in only one direction. So I'll say that again. This word describes an opinion in today's context, right? An opinion that doesn't go too far in one direction only. So what would this be? What word would it be? Balanced. Balanced, right? It doesn't go just one way. All right. Next one is, this word is the idea you have in your mind before you experience something. So it's the idea you have in your mind before you experience something. So this is a noun, and if you said expectation, you are correct. Very good. Expectation. The idea. All right. Very good. Next one. This verb means to look, to sound, or feel a certain way, even if you're not completely sure. So it means to look or to sound or feel in a certain way, even if you're not completely sure. So I would say seem. Very good. To seem, parecer. All right, next one. This verb means to realize that something is there or something is happening. It means to realize that something is there or happening, to become aware of that. And that is notice. Very good. Notice. All right. This word describes something gentle, soft, not powerful, gentle and soft. What would this be? Not too soft, not too gentle, but not too powerful either. Somewhere in the middle. So this would be mild. Mild. Very good. All right. This word describes your emotional weather at a certain moment. It describes your emotional weather at the moment. And that is mood. Estado de ánimo, mood. Very good. And I think we've done all words. Yeah, very good. So balanced balanced expectation, mood, mild, overrated, expect, notice, and seem. Very good. All right, so we're going to move on to words in context, from definitions to words in context. So you have to choose the best option for my sentence. Her comment was not too positive and not too negative. It was very, what would you say, delayed, spicy, or balanced. Her comment was not too positive or not too negative. It was very balanced. Very good. Okay, let's try another one. I thought the concert would be boring, but it was much better than I'll say that again. I thought the concert would be boring, but it was much better than my address, recipe, or expectation. It was much better than my expectation. Very good. All right. Let's continue. The cheese has something there. Taste. So it's good for people who don't like strong flavors. The cheese has a taste. So it's good for people who don't like strong flavors. So is it mild, broken, or mood? The cheese has a mild taste. So it's good for people who don't like strong flavors. All right, very good. We didn't the restaurant to be so full on a Monday night. We didn't the restaurant to be so full on a Monday night. We didn't expect, repair, or fold. We didn't expect the restaurant to be so full on a Monday night. Very good. The film won many prizes, but I didn't enjoy it much. For me, it was, and let's say that again. The film won many prizes, but I didn't enjoy it much. For me, it was empty, it was careful, or it was overrated. Well, for me, it was overrated. Very good. All right. I didn't the music at first because it was very low. I didn't something there. The music at first because it was very low. So I didn't notice, I didn't repeat, or I didn't invite the music. I didn't notice the music at first because it was very low. Okay, very good. Let's move on to a different activity. What are we going to do? We are going to rephrase by using one of these words. So, for example, I'll say something like this. His answer was calm and reasonable. His answer was calm and reasonable. So, how can we rephrase this sentence? His answer was balanced. Balanced. Calm and reasonable. Right? Balanced. His answer was balanced. All right, so something like that. Next one. I imagined the place would be more exciting. I imagined the place would be more exciting. Remember, what can you use? My answer is, my expectation was different. My expectation was different. All right. Next one. She feels energetic this morning. She feels energetic this morning. So what are we talking about? How can we rephrase the sentence? She is in an energetic mood this morning. She's in an energetic mood this morning. All right. How about this one? I like this one. The soup is not too salty, not too strong. The soup is not too salty or too strong. The soup is mild. The soup is mild. Very good. A lot of people love that cafe, but I don't think it's special. So what would you say? A lot of people love that cafe, but I don't think it's special. I think that cafe is overrated. I think that cafe is overrated. Very good. Let's do a last sentence. I believed in the past, I believed the journey would take 2 hours. I believed the journey would take 2 hours. All right. How do we rephrase this? I expected the journey to take 2 hours. I expected the journey to take 2 hours. Very good. So, to end this section of the show, of the program, let's do some sentence building. So I'll give you 3 prompts, or 4, or some, and then you build a sentence. We build it together. So listen to this. Balanced, try to and be. Balanced, try to and be. So this is an imperative. Try to be balanced. Try to be balanced. All right, let's try with another one. Words are mood, changed, her, and quickly. I'll say that again. Mood, changed, her, quickly. You ready? Her mood changed quickly. Her mood changed quickly. All right, let's try with this one. Is overrated that app? I'll repeat. Is overrated that app? So you would say, this app is overrated. This app is overrated. All right. One more. Expect, did. Good news, you. Expect, did. Good news, and you. Let's make this a question. Did you expect good news? Did you expect good news? Very good. All right, let's do one more. Seem, they, worried today. Seem, they, worried today. You ready? They seemed worried today. They seemed worried today. All right, we're going to stop right there and go on a small break. And when we come back, we are going to work on those words that are very useful when we want to express our opinion, but not in an extreme way. When we want to be somewhere in the middle. Ni mucho ni muy poco. Ni mucho de un lado ni muy poco del otro. Un punto medio. Vamos a utilizar y practicar con esas palabras que nos ayudan a situarnos en el medio. Okay? And if you want to keep on practicing with this or other episodes, you can always listen to us on Vaughan Radio or iVox or Apple or Spotify, anywhere you listen or you get your podcasts from. All right, so wait for me just a few minutes and we will continue.
Esto lo que oyes.
You're listening to the right radio. You're listening to Vaughan Radio.
You're listening to Vaughan Radio.
Estas vacaciones, haz un viaje para tu inglés. Con los cursos intensivos semanales de Vaughan, mejora tu inglés durante cualquier periodo vacacional. Navidad, Semana Santa, verano, tú decides cuándo. Una semana para mejorar tu fluidez. Gana confianza al hablar. Aprovecha tu tiempo libre al máximo. Y lo mejor es que puedes reservar tu curso desde ya para asegurarte tu plaza en el momento que prefieras. No dejes pasar la oportunidad de avanzar en tu inglés estas vacaciones. Entra en grupovaughan.com/intensivos y contrata tu semana intensiva hoy mismo, porque tu inglés también merece unas vacaciones.
Mommy, Daddy, these summer English books are so much fun.
¿Quieres que este verano tus hijos repasen inglés de forma divertida? Tenemos justo lo que necesitas. Llega Summer English. Listen, practice, learn. La nueva colección de cuadernos de Vaughan para niños de primero a sexto de primaria. Con juegos, gramática, vocabulario, audios y actividades online. Todo al más puro estilo Vaughan. Ya disponibles en vaughantienda.com y librerías seleccionadas. Este verano, aprender inglés será su plan favorito.
¿Quieres mejorar tu inglés sin complicaciones? Vaughan Inglés 4.0 es el curso de inglés más completo en formato audio, con casi 600 clases desde cero hasta nivel avanzado. Paso a paso, donde y cuando quieras. Claro, práctico y eficaz. Gramática, vocabulario, pronunciación y sobre todo, resultados. Busca nuestro podcast Vaughan Inglés 4.0 en iVox.
Este verano, ¿quieres que tus hijos se diviertan, vivan 1000 aventuras y además ganen fluidez en inglés, rodeados de naturaleza y con los mejores monitores angloparlantes Vaughan? Tráelos a nuestro Vaughan Summer Camps, con cabañas, actividades acuáticas, multiaventura, nuevos amigos y entornos increíbles donde aprenderán a resolver situaciones cotidianas en inglés sin darse cuenta. Más de 3.000 niños viven nuestras inmersiones cada año. Encuentra tu mejor Summer Camp sin salir de España. Contrata tu mejor camp.
Come to learn with us at Vaughan.
¿Te apuntas?
En Vaughan Town hay un antes y un después. El antes es inseguridad, titubeo, fastidio. El después es confianza, convicción y arrojo. Y esto en solo 6 días.
El mayor ambiente lingüístico jamás creado, con la mayor variedad de acentos nativos nunca antes reunidos. Vaughan Town, el pueblo anglo de Vaughan. Vaughan Town. Rechaza imitaciones. Infórmate en el 911335833.
Vaughan Town. Cambia tu inglés ya.
Encuentra todos los libros de nuestros presentadores de radio en las tiendas Vaughan. Nosotros te ayudamos a encontrar el libro perfecto para ti, para todos los niveles y edades. También encontrarás libros de alemán, francés y mucho más. Estamos en calle Orense 75, en Madrid, o en nuestras 6 delegaciones por España. Ven a vernos o visita vaughantienda.com. Vaughan, learn English.
Escúchanos en cualquier momento y en cualquier lugar. Descarga la app de Vaughan Radio.
You are listening to Everyday.
To listen to Vaughan Radio.
You're listening to Vaughan Radio.
Tune in every day.
Vaughan Radio.
Speaking with Confidence with Ale.
Welcome back to Speaking with Confidence. I'm Alejandra, and today we're talking about softer, more balanced opinions. And before we move into the grammar, here's a small fact. As you know, it is only natural for humans to often prefer extremes when they want to express an experience. We do that. Our brain likes extremes. So, for example, we remember the amazing dinner, or the terrible film, or the perfect holiday, or the awful conversation. Why? Because big emotions are easy to remember. They're easy to remember. But the thing is that life also happens in the middle. As I said at the beginning of the show, most of life happens in the middle, right? Not in those two opposites, but in the middle. So most days are not perfect, or most days are not terrible. They're all right. They're good. They're just as good. Most people are not always confident or always insecure. Most experiences are mixed, a little good, a little difficult, a little surprising, a little disappointing. And that's important not just for life, to move from one side and from another side and to come to a middle ground, but it's also important because in English, in Spanish or English, when we learn to describe the middle, we understand life better. We are being more honest. So we don't need to say it was amazing if it was just nice, or we don't need to say it was terrible if it was maybe just a little uncomfortable. Sometimes a more honest answer can be, it was quite interesting, or it was pretty good, it was fairly simple. And that's why today's grammar is so useful, because it helps us express opinions that are not exaggerated or too extreme, and instead they are more accurate. Okay, so that's what we're going to be working on today. And let's move on to our grammar section. So what are those words? Where the words are quite, pretty, rather, and fairly. And these are adverbs. More specifically, these are adverbs of degree adverbs or intensifiers, because they tell us how strong an adjective or an adverb is, or a noun phrase. And they also help us say how an opinion or a feeling is, how strong this opinion or how strong a feeling is. All right, so let's begin with the first one, quite, because this one has several important points. So let's begin with quite plus an adjective. So we use quite plus an adjective to mean more than a little, but less than very. So more than a little, but less than very. For example, the story was quite interesting. La historia fue bastante interesante. Más que un poquito, pero menos que mucho. The shop was quite busy this morning. La tienda estaba bastante llena esta mañana. No demasiado, ni muy vacía ni muy llena. It was quite busy. All right. And in Spanish, as you are already listening to the translation, bastante is the equivalent in Spanish. It can be the equivalent. The walk was quite long, but I enjoyed it. The walk was quite long, but I enjoyed it. El paseo fue bastante largo, pero lo disfruté. Bastante largo. No tan fuerte como si dijéramos very, muy larga, muy largo. Okay, so we can use quite with quite good, but not amazing. Quite tired, tired but not exhausted. Quite difficult, difficult but not impossible. So you see, these are all adverbs that are being described by, these are all adjectives that are being described by the adverb quite. Quite good, quite tired, quite difficult, quite busy, quite interesting. Okay? So that's one way to use quite. Quite and an adjective. The second one is quite plus a or an, and an adjective and a noun. So I'll give you an example to make it a bit more clear. Listen to this. We can say, quite a good film. See, quite a good is our adjective and film is our noun. Quite a good film. It was quite an expensive restaurant. It was quite a strange comment. We are being specific on what we're describing. Quite a good film. Quite a busy week. Not just any week, no? A busy week. Quite a busy week. Una semana bastante ocupada. Esa fue una respuesta bastante sincera. That was quite an honest answer. That was quite an honest answer. All right, so that's how we can use quite with a or an plus an adjective and a noun. We're being specific of what exactly we are describing. She had quite a difficult morning. She had quite a difficult morning. Tuvo una mañana bastante difícil. Una mañana bastante difícil. So, con quite, ponemos quite antes de a or an, before the determiners, a or an, okay? Quite a nice place, un lugar bastante agradable. Quite an old song, una canción bastante antigua. All right, so that's the second way you can use quite plus an adjective, or quite plus a or an an adjective, and then a noun. All right, next way to use this is with a lot. Quite a lot of and a noun. And we use this structure to mean a good amount of, or many, or much. So, for example, there were quite a lot of people outside. There were quite a lot of people outside. Había bastante gente fuera. Or, I made quite a lot of mistakes in the first exercise. I made quite a lot of mistakes in the first exercise. Cometí bastantes errores en el primer ejercicio. So see, this is how we're using it. Quite a lot, plus a noun. All right, we still have quite a lot of work to do. We still have quite a lot of work to do. So, cuando queremos destacar que es una cantidad generosa o es una cantidad considerable de algo. Quite a lot of work to do. Quite a lot of work to do. Bastante trabajo por hacer. All right. So, remember, el significado es similar en español. Bastante o bastantes, ¿no? And it works with countable and uncountable nouns. Quite a lot of people, quite a lot of time, right? Both uncountable. All right. And one last way to use quite, well, maybe not the last way, but we're going to see quite, just quite, on its own, que significa completamente en este caso. A veces significa completamente, no bastante. Y eso sucede con algunos adjetivos como sure, right, wrong, true, clear, different, safe. But, for example, I'm quite sure. Estoy completamente seguro. Estoy más que seguro. I'm quite sure. Estoy completamente segura. Right? Or we can say, I'm quite, or she's quite right. Or the answer is quite right. La respuesta es más que bastante correcta. It's quite right. Completamente correcta. We can also say, that's quite true. That's quite true. Es completamente cierto. Por decir que es más que bastante cierto. That's quite true. All right. So that's how another way to use it. It can be tricky in Spanish porque igualmente significa bastante, pero quizás un poco más que bastante, casi completamente. All right. When we use it, cuando utilizamos este adverbio con estos otros adjetivos. Sure, right, wrong. All right. All right. And a final way to use quite is in a negative form. Not quite. And not quite means not exactly or not completely. Not quite. So I'm not quite ready. No estoy del todo lista. I'm not quite ready. Or that's not quite what I mean. No es exactamente lo que quería decir. I'm not quite, that's not quite what I mean. Or you can also use it like this. I don't quite understand the question. I don't quite understand the question. No entiendo del todo la pregunta. All right, so here it can be a bit, it sounds a bit more polite, more softer. Sounds softer and more polite. So instead of saying, that's wrong, you can say, that's not quite right. Okay? All right. Those are all the points that we're going to cover today when we're using quite. All right, so let me go over them really quickly so you remember. So the first one is quite plus a noun, an adjective. Quite plus an adjective. Quite interesting. Quite busy. Remember? Our next way is quite a or an, and then the adjective. Quite a good film. Quite an expensive restaurant. Quite a strange moment. The third way to use this quite is quite a lot of, and then the noun. Quite a lot of people or quite a lot of mistakes. You can use it with both countable and uncountable. Y esto es para explicar o expresar sobre una buena cantidad de algo. Quite a lot of. All right. And the fifth way, and this one can be confusing, is to use quite as completely. I'm quite sure, you are quite right, this is quite wrong, or that is quite true. Un poco más que bastante, bastante más que bastante. All right, casi completely, completamente. And our sixth way is negative, not quite. And not quite means not completely or not exactly, not quite ready, not quite what I mean. Or, and if you want to sound a bit more formal, you'd say, that's not quite right. More polite. More than formal, more polite. That's not quite right. Instead of saying, it's wrong. Next one is pretty. Pretty and an adjective. It's very similar to quite, but it's more informal. We use it a lot in English. So you'd say, the lesson was pretty useful, or the train was pretty full. Estaba bastante lleno. The answer was pretty simple, bastante sencilla. Es un poco más informal. Okay? I know that pretty means beautiful, right? She's pretty. Ella es guapa, bonita, hermosa. But pretty good, antes de un adjetivo, está describiendo al adjetivo. No con belleza, sino con bastante. Pretty means bastante, all right? So remember, pretty good, pretty simple, pretty full. Very easy, very simple. Pretty simple. All right, so our next one is rather. Rather also means something similar to quite, all right? But it is used often with negative ideas. Rather plus an adjective. For example, the room was rather dark. La habitación estaba bastante oscura. It was rather dark. Or the explanation was rather confusing, bastante confusa. Or the service was rather slow. The service was rather slow. Como que la esencia o el sentido de las frases que expresamos son negativas, experiencias sentidas o vividas como negativas. Entonces, rather confusing, rather slow, or rather dark. All right? Suena quizás un poquito más de crítica, pero igualmente muy amable, very polite, still polite, all right? Pero igualmente es mucho más suave que simplemente decir fue terrible. El servicio fue terrible. The service was terrible. Instead, what you can say is the service was rather slow. Igualmente estás demostrando tu opinión negativa respecto de algo, pero utilizando un vocabulario mucho más suave, no tan extremo. It was terrible, no tan extremo. Decimos más bien rather slow. The service was rather slow. Okay? Remember that middle ground, ese punto medio. Ni tan una cosa ni tan la otra. Igualmente conservamos la esencia del mensaje, esto negativo con este adverbio, pero en un punto medio. Y quiero decir, además, más amable, más polite, más cordial. All right, and however, sin embargo, podemos también utilizar este rather con ideas positivas. Por ejemplo, the result was rather good. Pero para expresar sorprendentemente, rather good, sorprendentemente bueno. El resultado fue sorprendentemente bueno. How about this one? The place was rather beautiful. El lugar era sorprendentemente bonito. So rather good can also mean better than I expected. Mejor de lo que esperaba. Okay? Rather good with adjectives that are that have a positive connotation. Okay, so the last adverb is fairly. Fairly plus an adjective. And fairly is weaker than quite, than pretty, and rather weaker. So it means something is okay, but not very strong. O sea, en un punto realmente menor que el punto medio, pero no negativo, no del todo negativo o no del todo terrible, no de un extremo en el lado negativo de la escala. En este punto medio, pero muy promedio. Entonces, por ejemplo, si queremos decir, el hotel era relativamente cómodo. Ahí estamos diciendo relativamente, ni esto ni lo otro, ¿no? So, in English, the hotel was fairly comfortable. The hotel was fairly comfortable, relativamente cómodo. Another example, la actividad fue relativamente fácil. So this is another way of using this word. The activity was fairly easy. It was fairly easy. And how about this one? La comida estuvo bastante bien, pero no fue excelente. Pero para no decir esto tan largo en lo que hemos dicho en español, la comida fue bastante bien, pero no fue excelente, vamos a decir y utilizar simplemente este adverbio. The meal was fairly good. It was fairly good. ¿No? Bien, pero no increíble. So it was fairly good. All right? So, in Spanish, fairly can mean relativamente, más o menos, bastante pero no mucho. Okay? So if you say it was fairly good, then you would be meaning it was okay and it could be better. All right? So quick summary, un resumen cortito. Quite, sabemos que todas estas palabras, quite, pretty, and rather, significan bastante, right? Basic meaning for quite, bastante, sometimes it can be completely neutral and very useful, ¿no? Puede ser bastante neutral, quite. Y pretty is, you can use it in a very informal context. Rather, you can use rather with negative or surprisingly positive adjectives. And fairly, sabemos que fairly, el significado es relativamente o más o menos. La sensación que causa es que es más débil, no es demasiado fuerte. All right, fairly. It's average, it's relativo. All right, so remember, quite good, bastante bueno. Pretty good, bastante bueno también, pero más informal. Rather good, surprisingly good. Rather good, sorprendentemente bueno. Fairly good, bueno, no, pero no increíble. And the last one was not quite right, no del todo. Not quite, no del todo. All right? Okay, so now that we've got those words, we've described those words and how to use them, let's put them in action. It's quite, pretty, rather, and fairly. Let's try and let's continue with translations first. You ready? Listen. La película fue bastante lenta. La película fue bastante lenta. Aquí queremos ser más formales o más amables, cordiales. So what would you say? The film was quite slow. The film was quite slow. Very good. Can we say pretty slow? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. We can say the film was pretty slow. Pero si estamos en un contexto más informal. Fue una noche bastante tranquila. Fue una noche bastante tranquila. So, what would you say? It was quite a quiet evening. It was quite a quiet evening. Muy bien. También podríamos decir it was a pretty quiet evening. It was a pretty quiet evening. Both are correct. Hay bastantes niños en el parque. Hay bastantes niños en el parque. There were, había bastantes niños en el parque. There were a lot of children in the park. Quite a lot of, remember that one. There were quite a lot of children in the park. Very good. No estoy del todo segura. No estoy del todo segura. Negative quite, so I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure. Esa explicación fue completamente clara. Esa explicación fue completamente clara. That explanation was quite clear. That explanation was quite clear. Very good. El lugar era bastante bonito, pero vamos a decirlo de manera informal. El lugar era bastante bonito. The place was pretty nice. Pretty nice. Very good. La comida estaba bastante fría. Y sabemos que esto es algo negativo. So, la comida estaba bastante fría. Vamos a utilizar otro adverbio. The food was rather cold. The food was rather cold. All right. Y el ejercicio fue relativamente fácil. El ejercicio fue relativamente fácil. So, the exercise was fairly easy. the exercise was fairly easy. Very good. So we've used all of our adverbs today to describe these experiences de una manera más cordial y quizás sin utilizar extremos. So that's it for today. I'll see you tomorrow.
Estás escuchando Vaughan Radio.
Spanish for real, not just textbooks. Join the free Como Estas Masterclass and get a taste of a practical method designed to help people in the UK. Start speaking with confidence. Know someone who might be interested? Send them to comoestas.co.uk/masterclass.
Este verano, ¿quieres que tus hijos se diviertan, vivan 1000 aventuras y además ganen fluidez en inglés, rodeados de naturaleza y con los mejores monitores angloparlantes Vaughan? Tráelos a nuestro Vaughan Summer Camps. Hay 4 ubicaciones diferentes para que elijas tu mejor opción, con cabañas, actividades acuáticas, multiaventura, nuevos amigos y entornos increíbles donde aprenderán a resolver situaciones cotidianas en inglés sin darse cuenta. Más de 3000 niños viven nuestras inversiones cada año. Encuentra tu mejor Summer Camp sin salir de España. Ahora también en la playa. Llámanos al 917001199 y contrata tu mejor camp.
Come to learn with us at Vaughan.
¿Te apuntas?
Si tu hijo tiene entre 6 y 12 años y termina el curso con dudas en matemáticas, Genius Math puede ayudarle a reforzar la base antes de septiembre. Clases online de matemáticas en inglés, método Singapur y 60% de descuento solo hasta el 30 de junio. Más información en grupovaughan.com/matemáticas.
¿Quieres aprender inglés de verdad? Únete a Vaughan Groups. Clases en grupo divertidas y eficaces. Más de 4000 alumnos nos eligen cada año. Entra en grupovaughan.com.
Mommy, Daddy, these summer English books are so much fun.
¿Quieres que este verano tus hijos repasen inglés de forma divertida? Tenemos justo lo que necesitas. Llega Summer English. Listen, practice, learn. La nueva colección de cuadernos de Vaughan para niños de primero a sexto de primaria, con juegos, gramática, vocabulario, audios y actividades online. Todo al más puro estilo Vaughan. Ya disponibles en vaughantienda.com y librerías seleccionadas. Este verano, aprender inglés será su plan favorito.
Mejora tu inglés con los cursos intensivos de Vaughan. Nuestras clases son 100% orales, diseñadas para mejorar tu listening y speaking. Visítanos en grupovaughan.com/intensivo.
¿Quieres aprender inglés a tu propio ritmo y según tu horario? En Vaughan tenemos la solución perfecta para ti. Con las clases particulares online de Vaughan, disfrutarás de la máxima flexibilidad en tu aprendizaje del inglés. Tú eliges. ¿Prefieres centrarte en la conversación o en la gramática? No hay ningún problema. Con Vaughan puedes seleccionar la modalidad que más te convenga. Y no solo eso, sino que también tienes completa libertad para elegir el día, la hora y la duración de tus clases. ¿Solo tienes 25 minutos? Perfecto. En Vaughan nos adaptamos a ti. Visita grupovaughan.com hoy mismo y descubre cómo nuestras clases particulares pueden transformar tu forma de aprender inglés. Flexibilidad y calidad en la enseñanza del inglés a tu medida.
Una semana en un lugar apartado.
Nativos angloparlantes de todas partes del mundo, uno por cada estudiante.
Terminantemente prohibido hablar en español.
Actividades organizadas y conversaciones en inglés a todas horas. No exageramos.
Aquí o hablas inglés o hablas inglés.
Y da igual las veces que te lo contemos.
Hasta que no lo vivas no sabrás que Vaughan Town te va a quitar el miedo al inglés para siempre.
Lo que pasa en Vaughan Town no se puede contar.
Tienes que